These days, the monogram on his handkerchief might as well read JSMM. That would be John Sidney McCain Maverick. Hard to watch any coverage of the U.S. presidential race without hearing the M word at some point, coming from McCain himself, from pundits, or with increasing frequency from the Maverick's running mate and self-proclaimed fellow Maverick, Governor Sarah Palin. For the Arizona senator, the word has served him well as a brand, but for others, being a Maverick, it just comes naturally. 82-year-old Terralita Maverick hails from San Antonio, Texas, and, like all of those who came before her, she's proud of her family name and its history. We reached Terralita Maverick at home in San Antonio.
First off, Maverick, Ms. Maverick.
Well, thank you.
Now, before we get into this, how are you feeling about the whole Maverick talk during the election campaign?
Well, I'm outraged that he would use our name because he's not a Maverick uppercase or lowercase. Because he's not related to me, and he's branded as a Republican.
Just want to play you a bit of tape we put together from the vice presidential campaign and get your reaction to that. Let's have a listen to this.
People aren't looking for more of the same. They are looking for change. And John McCain has been the consummate maverick in the Senate over all these years. He's taken shots left and right, putting obsessive partisanship aside. That's what John McCain has been known for in all these years. He has been the maverick. Also, John McCain's maverick position that he's in, that's maverick, and that's Senator John McCain.
Oh,
well, she seems to think he's a maverick. That was Sarah Palin talking about John McCain.
Poor thing. She's very precocious, and I think she speaks very well. But she's just ignorant about the derivation of the word maverick, and he nor she knows really what it means, or he cannot possibly be a maverick.
It comes from your family, doesn't it?
Yes.
Tell me just a bit of the history of how the Maverick family developed.
Well, now, that would take too long.
Okay. How does the word maverick come to be?
All right. After about 300 years, of mavericks being rabble-rousers, my great-grandfather came to Texas, and all he cared about, or really, beside his family, was land, real estate, and he was a land speculator. So when he was given a lot of bulls or cattle in payment for a deal, he just put them over on an island, Matagorda, or near here, and during low tide they swam back over to the mainland because the man was not branding them nor taking care of them. So when they got over here, they were free, the only cattle that were not branded or part of anybody else, it appeared, anybody else's herd. So when somebody would say, well, what are those? And somebody that knew would say, oh, those are mavericks.
So the first the first mavericks were actually cows or bulls.
Yeah, yeah, of course. They were, because they were not branded nor part. Apparently, everybody thought they were free and independent, and therefore they could take them for themselves, because the only cattle you can't take are the ones that are branded, of course.
But your family were not just Mavericks, capital M Mavericks, but lowercase Mavericks for a long time.
Oh, my God. The first person to get busted in Boston in 1630 was one of my ancestors, ninth-generation ancestors, Sam Maverick, because he was defending human rights then, because the Puritans were using people as indentured servants, and they didn't like him rebelling against that. So they started to put him in jail, but luckily he was rich, so he paid £150 to get out of that one.
What other Mavericks in the Maverick family?
Oh, my cousin was the first person to be killed. Sam was killed at the Boston Massacre in 1770. And, Daddy, my father, Maury Maverick, he was a New Deal crusader and a big friend of Roosevelt's and Mrs. Roosevelt's.
John McCain has now called the Maverick. He's. Do you think he's got no claim to that title?
Did I understand Mr. Obama to say that he went along with Mr. Bush about 90% of the time on his voting, or with the Republicans about 90? How does that make him independent of his clan or his herd? if he has been a Republican all this time, he cannot possibly be a maverick. If you're a maverick, you are independent.
You can't be branded.
You can't be branded. Right, you got it, Carol.
Now, so this is it recorded in dictionary or in the encyclopedia that the term maverick comes from your family?
Sure, it's in all the dictionaries, and they almost always say the name came from Sam Maverick, who didn't brand his cattle. Well, the truth is that his cowboys were drunk and didn't brand the cattle, but we didn't even bother to. Later, I think we rounded up a few and sold them to about 400 of them to Toutant Beauregard, but some of them ended up in California, I'm told. People just took them.
Is there any candidate you see as a maverick in this election race?
Well, I don't know.
Did you think that Ron Paul, who I guess is a libertarian, he's a Texan, he's just like your brother Maury? Is that
he's a pretty good man. He is a really good man. He is, but I'm a Democrat, tried and true, and I could not be anything else. I don't like anybody. I don't like a third party or another party to split the vote. They might elect another Bush. If people are thinking they're going to vote for be that independent. I mean, it's okay to be a maverick in your personal life, but now in this election we have to be Democrats and elect Mr. Obama. I mean, I've been a very fortunate woman. I have known 5 presidents of the United States, beginning with Roosevelt and Mr. Truman, because Margaret and I were good friends, Lyndon Johnson, Jack Kennedy, and Mr. Carter. I've known personally.
Have you always been a Democrat?
Of course.
we can't brand you, though.
No.
Ms. Maverick, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, Carol, thank you for calling me, and I hope everything works out all right for everybody.
Well, you've given me a good chuckle, so that's pretty good.
Okay, honey. Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
82-year-old Terralina Maverick is a real, true maverick. She was at her home in San Antonio, Texas. She's wonderful, huh?
That's right.
Honey?
Well, we got to go brand some cattle here and take some time out for the news, but we're going to be right back soon, and when we do, we'll have these stories.
You betcha we will. And